There was once a boy who believed in something that everyone around him said was impossible. They laughed at him. They told him to stop dreaming. They even said, "Why waste your time? People like you never reach that place. People like you should stay small." But inside the boy's heart, there was a fire. It was not big, but it was strong. It whispered to him every day, "Don't listen. Keep going. Something amazing is waiting." And because he listened to that small voice, his life began to change. My friend, today I want to tell you his story. It is not only his story, it is also your story, my story, the story of anyone who has ever believed in something bigger than themselves. Listen carefully, because maybe this story will change the way you see learning, life, and even yourself. Why do I share this with you? Because I know sometimes you feel the same. Maybe you have a dream. Maybe you want to learn English, start a new life, or become someone different from what people expect. And maybe the world around you says, "It's too late. It's too hard. It's impossible." But what if it is not impossible? What if the only thing standing between you and your dream is belief, the decision to keep going even when others say no? That is why this story matters. It is a story about pain, rejection, failure, but also about hope, courage, and victory. So stay with me until the end, and I promise you will see, nothing is impossible for the person who refuses to give up. The boy in this story was not special in the way the world measures special. He was not rich. He did not have powerful friends. His family was simple, and sometimes there was not enough food on the table. He wore old clothes, and his shoes had holes in them. When people saw him, they saw an ordinary boy, maybe even less than ordinary. But inside, he was different. He had questions, so many questions. He would sit outside at night, looking at the stars, and wonder, what is out there? What could my life become? While others laughed and played, he dreamed. He did not want to stay small forever. He wanted to learn, to grow, to do something that would make the world remember him. But dreams are dangerous when you are poor. When the boy shared his dreams, people laughed. They told him, "Dreams are for rich kids. Dreams are for lucky ones. You should just accept your life." Even his friends said, "Don't be foolish. Nothing will change for people like us." The boy listened, but deep inside, his heart did not agree. He thought, "If I stop dreaming, I will stop living." So he held on to his dreams, even when it was painful, even when no one believed. This courage, this stubborn hope, made him different. He did not know how, and he did not know when, but he knew he was going to fight for something bigger. Still, the boy was often lonely. At school, other children laughed at his old clothes. Teachers sometimes ignored him, thinking he was not clever. At home, his parents worried about money and told him to focus only on work, not on impossible ideas. But the boy's heart was not quiet. He wanted to read books, to learn new words, to see new places. He wanted to touch the sky of his dreams. And even though the world gave him 1,000 reasons to give up, he searched for even one reason to continue. That reason was simple: he believed there was something more waiting for him. Something he could not see yet, but something real. But life did not make it easy for the boy. Every time he tried to take one small step toward his dream, something pushed him back. At school, when he raised his hand to answer, the teacher often said, "Sit down. Others know better." When he worked hard and showed interest, classmates laughed and whispered, "Why are you trying so much? You will never succeed." Even the people closest to him sometimes said words that hurt more than stones. "Stop wasting your time," they told him. "Be realistic. People like us are not made for big things." Imagine being young, full of hope, and hearing these words again and again. It was like carrying a heavy bag on his back every day. His body was still small, but his heart carried the weight of rejection, doubt, and loneliness. And still, he walked forward. There were times when the boy thought, maybe they are right. Maybe my dream really is impossible. These thoughts came especially at night, when the world was quiet and his heart was loud. He would look at his books, at his notes, at the sky outside, and think, why am I doing this? No one believes in me. Maybe I am foolish. His chest felt heavy, and sometimes tears fell without his permission. Yet, even in those dark hours, something inside whispered, keep going. One more step. Do not stop now. It was not a loud voice. It was not a strong shout. It was a soft whisper, but it was enough. It told him that dreams only die when we choose to bury them. And the boy decided he would not bury his dream, no matter how much it hurt. Still, the road of struggle was long. Many times, the boy faced failure. He tried to win a small school prize, but he lost. He tried to speak up in class, but his words were broken, and others laughed. He tried to show his family that learning was important, but they shook their heads and told him to focus on earning money. Each failure was like a storm hitting his little boat. And storms are scary. They shake your body, your mind, your spirit. The boy wanted to hide, to stop trying, to escape the pain. But every time he fell, he stood up again. His clothes got dirtier, his heart got heavier, but he continued. Because deep inside, he believed, failure was not the end. Failure was only a lesson. And yet, people's words cut deep. Sometimes words are sharper than knives. His classmates' laughter echoed in his ears. His parents' tired faces made him feel guilty for dreaming. Even strangers told him, you cannot. It felt like the whole world was shouting, impossible. Have you ever felt that way? When everyone tells you no, when you feel small and weak, when your dream seems too far away. That is how the boy felt. But here is the secret, he allowed himself to feel the pain, but he did not let the pain kill his dream. He cried, but he still tried. He failed, but he still moved. This is what made him different. Not that he was stronger than others, but that he refused to stop. He decided his dream was worth the fight, no matter how hard the fight became. And then, one day, something small happened. Something that seemed ordinary, but it changed everything. The boy was sitting alone, feeling broken after another failure. His hands were shaking, his heart was heavy. He was ready to give up. Then a teacher walked by. Not his usual teacher, but a kind one who rarely spoke to him. The teacher saw him, stopped, and said, I see you are trying. Do not stop. You can do it. Just one sentence. Just a few words. But for the boy, it was like fire on a cold night. It was like light in a dark room. That moment gave him a new kind of strength. He thought, if even one person believes in me, maybe I can keep going. Maybe impossible is not impossible after all. From that day, the boy's heart changed. The teacher's word stayed in the boy's heart like a seed in the soil. At first, it was just small. But with every day, it grew stronger. He thought again and again about that moment. I see you are trying. Do not stop. You can do it. They were simple words, but they became his secret power. Suddenly, the boy began to see his failures differently. Before, failure was heavy like a stone. Now, he began to see failure as a teacher. Each mistake showed him where he could grow. Each rejection told him, try again in another way. And every time he remembered the teacher's kind voice, he felt less alone. It was as if someone had finally seen him, believed in him, and told him his dream was not foolish. That small seed of belief gave him courage to stand taller and try again. He started with little steps. He borrowed books from the library, even though the books were old and the pages were torn. He read late into the night under a weak lamp, his eyes tired but his heart awake. He asked questions to anyone who would listen. He began writing notes, practicing words, repeating them again and again until they became part of him. At first, the progress was slow. He still failed many times. People still laughed. But something inside had shifted. Now, every laugh from others only made him stronger. Every rejection pushed him to rise higher. He thought, if I stop, they win. If I continue, maybe one day, I will surprise them, and myself. And so, with each small step, the boy built a new version of himself. But the biggest change was not in his books or his skills. The biggest change was in his heart. Before, he believed only a little, and fear was stronger. But now, belief was stronger than fear. He began to tell himself every morning, nothing is impossible. If I keep moving, one day I will arrive. These words became his shield. When others laughed, he repeated them. When failure came, he whispered them. When loneliness tried to break him, he held them close like a friend. And slowly, the impossible began to look possible. He was still poor. He was still ordinary in the eyes of others. But inside, he was becoming rich with courage, strong with belief, and powerful with hope. That was the true beginning of his transformation. Life, however, continued to test him. Even after his heart grew stronger, problems did not disappear. He still faced hunger, long days of work, and nights of study with little sleep. There were times when he felt his body could not continue. His eyes wanted to close forever on the books. His hands wanted to drop the pen. But his belief was now like a candle that refused to die. No matter how strong the wind, the candle burned. He told himself, if I stop now, I will never know what was possible. But if I continue, even if I fail again, I will become stronger. This thought kept him moving step by step, even when everything around him tried to stop him. Of course, the boy still had moments of doubt. Sometimes, after a long day, he sat alone and thought, maybe I am foolish. Maybe they were right all along. His heart grew heavy, and for a short time, the fire inside seemed smaller. But every time this happened, he remembered the teacher's words. He remembered the feeling of someone seeing his effort. And he remembered his own promise, to never bury his dream. So he picked up his book again, wiped his tears, and continued. This is what belief looks like. It does not mean you never feel doubt. It means you continue even when doubt is loud. With time, his small steps began to show results. He could read faster. He could write clearer. He began to answer questions with more confidence. And slowly, the laughter around him became weaker. People still doubted, but now some began to notice. This boy, they whispered, he does not stop. Some were surprised. Some were confused. And some were even afraid, because they saw something powerful, a poor, ordinary boy who refused to accept the limits they gave him. For the boy, this was not about pride. It was about survival. His dream was his lifeline. It was the reason he woke up, the reason he worked, the reason he kept moving. Even when he succeeded in small ways, he did not forget his failures. Instead, he used them as fuel. Every time he remembered laughter, rejection, or pain, he told himself, that is why I must continue. His failures became bricks, and with them, he built a strong wall of resilience. Others may have seen him as weak, but in truth, he was becoming stronger every day. He did not win quickly. He did not reach success in one step. But he kept walking. And that is why belief is powerful. Belief does not remove difficulty, but it gives us the strength to carry difficulty until we reach our goal. The boy began to repeat one sentence to himself every day, nothing is truly impossible if I don't stop trying. These words were his compass. They guided him when he was lost. They lifted him when he was tired. They gave him hope when he was alone. And with these words, he faced every challenge. He fell, but stood up. He failed, but tried again. He cried, but wiped his tears. Slowly, the impossible dream became not just a dream, but a journey. A journey full of pain, yes, but also full of growth, strength, and small victories that led to something greater. And then, one day, the boy did something that no one thought he could do. It was not a big event in the eyes of the world, but for him, it was everything. He stood in front of his class, read a difficult passage, and answered questions with confidence. The same classmates who once laughed fell silent. The same teacher who once ignored him looked surprised. For the first time, the boy saw respect in their eyes. His heart beat fast, but it was not fear, it was victory. In that moment, he knew, impossible was only a word, not a truth. He had turned laughter into silence, rejection into respect, weakness into strength. That victory was small to others, but to the boy, it was the proof he needed. It told him, you were right to believe. You were right not to give up. He did not become famous that day. He did not suddenly become rich. But something more important happened. He proved to himself that belief plus persistence equals transformation. And from that moment, no one could take away his confidence. He had crossed the wall of impossible. And once you cross it once, you know you can cross it again and again. That day, the boy's journey changed forever. He was no longer just surviving. He was rising. After that small but powerful victory, the boy began to understand something important. Life changes not when the world believes in you, but when you believe in yourself. Before, he waited for others to say yes, to give him permission, to show him the way. But now he saw that real strength came from inside. The world may say, impossible, but your heart has the right to answer, possible. This truth is not only for the boy, it is for you too. Think about it, how many times have you been told that your dream is too big, too far, or too difficult? Maybe people laughed at you. Maybe even your own mind said, I can't. But if you choose belief, if you choose persistence, you can change the story. The boy's journey shows us, greatness begins with a single decision, to never give up. The world is full of people who will tell you no. They may not mean to hurt you, but their words can still cut deeply. They may project their own fears onto you. They may say, I couldn't do it, so you can't either. But remember the boy. He was poor, weak, rejected, and laughed at. Yet, he stood up again and again until the impossible became possible. His story teaches us something simple but powerful. Progress is not about luck or talent, it is about belief and persistence. If you hold on to your dream, even when it hurts, even when it feels hopeless, you are already stronger than most people. And one day, your persistence will shine as victory. Think of your own life now. What dream is sitting quietly in your heart? What goal do you sometimes feel is too big or too difficult? Maybe it is learning a skill. Maybe it is building a better life for your family. Maybe it is traveling, creating, or simply becoming a better version of yourself. Whatever it is, the boy's story is a reminder that you do not need to be special in the world's eyes. You only need to be stubborn in your heart. Because stubborn belief, mixed with daily effort, can move mountains. Do not let the world decide what is possible for you. Only you can decide that. Of course, there will be pain. Every dream comes with rejection, failure, and moments of loneliness. But pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. Failure is your trainer. Rejection is your mirror, showing you where to grow stronger. The boy's journey shows that pain does not destroy you, it prepares you. It gives you muscles of courage and bones of belief. And when you finally win, the victory tastes sweeter because you know how hard you fought for it. So, my friend, when you feel pain, do not run. Walk through it. Carry it. Learn from it. That is how you become unstoppable. The boy's story is not just about one person, it is about all of us. Every human heart carries a dream. Every human soul wants to rise higher. The difference is not in who we are born as, but in what we choose to believe. The boy chose belief when everything told him not to. And you can do the same. Maybe today you feel small, maybe today you feel weak. But small steps create big journeys, and weak beginnings can end in strong victories. The boy proves that you don't need perfect conditions to start. You only need the courage to begin, and the patience to continue. So, when you think about your future, remember this truth: belief plus persistence equals transformation. The boy became more than what the world expected, not because the road was easy, but because he refused to stop walking it. And now, I ask you, what is your road? What dream will you refuse to bury? When life shouts, impossible, will you answer, possible? The choice is in your hands, just as it was in his. And if you choose belief, your story, too, can become a light for others who are lost in the dark. Now let's connect this story to something very close to your heart: your English learning. Many learners feel exactly like the boy. Maybe you think, I am too old. I am too busy. English is too hard. It is impossible for me. Maybe people around you laugh or say, why bother? You will never speak like a native. These voices are heavy. They can make you want to quit. But remember the boy. Remember his fire, his persistence, his belief. Learning English is not impossible. It is simply a journey, full of small steps, small failures, small victories, just like his. And if you refuse to stop, one day, you will surprise even yourself. Think about how he started, with broken steps, with laughter around him, with rejection. But little by little, his persistence brought results. The same is true for you. Every new word you learn is a step. Every sentence you speak, even if it is full of mistakes, is a step. Every video you watch, every story you listen to, every moment you practice is a step. And these steps, even if they look small today, will one day carry you to fluency. You don't need to learn everything at once. You only need to continue, just as the boy continued. So the next time you feel tired, the next time you feel embarrassed to speak, the next time you think, this is too hard, remember, impossible is only a word. Tell yourself, nothing is truly impossible if I don't stop trying. Just like the boy repeated it every day, you can too. Let those words become your compass. Let them guide you when doubt is loud. And know this: every time you listen to a story like this, every time you practice even a little, you are walking toward your dream. You are becoming stronger than yesterday. My friend, the boy's story is also your story. He was ordinary, but belief made him extraordinary. And the same can happen for you. Do not wait for the world to believe in you, believe in yourself first. Do not wait for perfect conditions, start with what you have. Do not stop when it hurts, keep walking until the impossible becomes possible. And remember this always: every word you learn today, every small effort you make, brings you one step closer to your dream. So, keep believing, keep practicing, keep going. Because your story is still being written, and I believe the ending will be beautiful.